Hello guys, Adam here from Switch Indie Fix, and I am bringing you episode 17 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast. Today it's a very nice, fresh looking morning here in Vienna on the 27th of December. I wanted to bring you this podcast. It's kind of like the last round off podcast of the year. I wanted to kind of round the year off, with this podcast. And as you can see, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, I actually have a new microphone, so there might be some kinks. I can see that the input seems to be very loud right now. So hopefully it doesn't get too loud for you. Just working out the kinks right now with it. But yeah, it looks really awesome. On the video version you can actually see now I have a mouth, whereas my last one with the huge pop filter, I was always kind of looking like this. So you couldn't really see my nose and my mouth, but I actually do have a mouth. So that's pretty awesome. I got it as a gift from my girlfriend's parents, which is cool. Very handy since my last one broke recording with Age of Boredom. I still think it was his fault that the microphone broke, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. This episode we're going to talk a little bit about obviously the news as always. Our conversation portion, I'm going to actually talk about the Christmas sale that's on, and maybe a little bit about my own personal game of the year, just as it is the last podcast of the year. It's going to be a bit looser. I haven't really created a docket. I just wanted to talk to you guys and get one last podcast out before the end of the year, so I hope you all enjoy it. So let's get on with the news. Let's see how many items there are on the list. There are only 3 items on the list. Half a baker's dozen. Over Christmas, obviously, there's not much gaming news at all. Yes, and definitely not that much indie game news. I've been looking through some of the sites like Nintendo Life and Nintendo Everything, and the news has basically been replaced by features because there's so little to talk about. So this news, it's not from the last week. I think it's from like the last 2 weeks. Story number 1 is that the Stardew Valley multiplayer update is available now. It actually came out on the 12th of December, so like I said, it's about 2 weeks old now. As stated by the game's developer ConcernedApe, the new 1.3 update is a significant change for Stardew Valley. It adds new items and events, as well as co-op multiplayer, which is the main part of the update, what everyone was really looking forward to. Multiplayer supports up to 4 players. 1 player acts as the host while 3 friends join to work towards a common goal. Therefore, the host must always be in the game to play. So yeah, it's kind of how Minecraft works as well on the Switch, I think, where 1 person sets up a world. Anyone can join in the world, but I don't think you can play unless that person is actually playing, because I guess they kind of host a server. I think this is really cool news. Stardew Valley is like a massive game on the Switch, probably like one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling indie game on the Switch. They kind of promised this a while back. I think it's an exclusive or timed exclusive to the Switch, the multiplayer, so it's cool to see that it actually worked. But ConcernedApe managed to get it done, and I think he had like 1 person helping him, so it's like 2 people that have really done this. That's really cool for Stardew Valley players. If you don't know what Stardew Valley is, I guess you've been like living under a rock for the last 4 or 5 years, but it's basically like a spiritual successor, and in many ways has improved on the formula of Harvest Moon. So you set up a farm, you start farming, you start earning little bits of gold, of money, I should say, and you then can go into the town, spend it on upgrades, but also there's like a huge kind of like almost like dating sim involved as well, where you can get married and have kids, or you can go, if you want, you can go into like dungeons and fight enemies. So it's a really cool game, and now you can do it with friends, which is always a massive bonus. It would be cool. I guess the only problem is it's only 4 players, but I haven't played Stardew Valley on the Switch. I had it on my PC and put a lot of time into it on Steam when it very first came out. But it would be cool if some friends in the Discord community or in the Switch Indie Fix community had it, and we could all jump on and start our own farm, and that would be pretty cool. So if you do have Stardew Valley and that sounds interesting to you, let me know over on Twitter at Switch Indie Fix if you want to play a bit of Stardew Valley with me. So story number 2 is that Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom sells 50,000 copies in its first week. So Monster Boy in the First Kingdom has sold 50,000 units in its first week, reports the game's publisher FDG Entertainment. This is great news for the amazing game, as it seems to be getting the sales it deserves. The game took over 5 years to make and had a 7-figure budget, so it's nice to see people seem to be enjoying the game and buying it. So yeah, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. I'm still playing it. It's a much longer game than I thought it was going to be. It's one of those games where I feel like I've been playing it forever. But I've only just realized that I'm only about halfway through. And yeah, it's basically if you know what Wonder Boy is, it's kind of like, again, like a spiritual successor to Wonder Boy. It's basically a Wonder Boy game without the Wonder Boy franchise license. So yeah, you play as like this kid who gets turned into a pig by an evil wizard. Well, an evil. It's like his uncle is the wizard. And then yeah, you basically go through. It's like 2D platforming. You go through different areas. And you unlock, like in the Metroidvania way, you unlock basically different monsters that let you access new parts of the map. And yeah, I think the game it had, it's like I said, it had a 7-figure budget. It took them 5 years to make. It's an indie game. It's by FDG Entertainment, who also published Blossom Tales on the Switch and Oceanhorn, and they're a company like I kind of converse with quite often, and they supplied me with the code for Monster Boy, so take anything I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's like one of those not like fairy tale stories, but it seems like they tried to create a really great product, especially if you buy the physical edition, because they did a physical edition with like an actual in-game what's the word, like not a guide but like a pamphlet. Like they really put like a lot of time and energy into the game. They actually had to they delayed it a few times because they just didn't think it was ready and they wanted to polish it. And yeah, it's good to see that they've produced like a good product and people seem to like it and enjoy it. My only concern for the game was that it's like $40, which I think it's worth $40 if you really like those type of platformer games like Metroidvanias. It's also very similar to the Shantae series. If you like Shantae, you're gonna really like Monster Boy. It has gorgeous art style, like the cartoon art, and they even created almost like an anime movie at the beginning, which is really cool as well. So yeah, if you like those type of platformers, I think it's definitely worth the $40, and it's nice to see that the game is selling well. And congratulations to Philip over at FDG Entertainment, and I think the developers are called Game Atelier or Altair or something. So yeah, that's great. And the final news story is actually one that comes from Switch IndieFix, and that is that Switch IndieFix Game of the Year results are in. So if you don't know, I actually ran like our own Game of the Year competition earlier in December. I wanted to kind of get it out before all the big websites did, because I wanted to try and get like people to interact with it. And I have to say, it was really awesome how it worked. We had over 3,000 votes on Twitter and on our Google form, like together, not on both each, but which was really surprising because I was expecting to get maybe like 15 votes on each category. And I think the Game of the Year award category got like 700, so that was really, really cool. Thanks to everyone that retweeted it and liked it, and yeah, especially all the developers and publishers that did that too. That really helped. So there were 8 categories, and yeah, I basically put it up. There was four games or 4 developers or 4 content creators for each category. I put it up on Twitter and Google Forms, like I said, and people voted on the favorite. I then added the two scores together, and then worked out the percentage of which of each nominee's score. Sorry, I got like something in my throat then. And yeah, so let's start off with the best Nintendo content creator. There was 4 people nominated: Switch Island, Age of Boredom, Nindy Nexus, and Switch RPG. And kind of surprisingly, there was a tie. Each Nindy Nexus and Switch RPG got like the same amount of votes. I think they got 51 each, so they were the winners. So congrats to them. Best indie developer and publisher was the nominees were Devolver Digital, Team Cherry, FDG Entertainment, and someone else who I can't remember now. But yeah, Devolver Digital won. Best indie strategy game, Into the Breach won. Best indie RPG, West of Loathing won, which I was quite pleased about because I think that game is great and deserves all the praise it can get. Best indie platformer game was Celeste. Best action adventure game was The Messenger, which was cool to see that win an award from us. Best indie multiplayer was Warframe, and best indie art style was Owlboy, and best indie game of the year was Into the Breach, which again was surprising because I thought Celeste was going to win, and for a long time Celeste was out in the lead, and I think Into the Breach's developers either liked the poll or retweeted it, and then that kind of pushed them way further. I'm just going to drink some coffee, by the way. So yeah, it was really awesome. A really awesome event that I planned. Like I really wanted it, especially with the content creator award, to get people, to get us Switch content creators to kind of interact with each other a bit more, because I feel like I see all of these people on Twitter, but we never really talk. So it was nice to kind of get everyone chatting, and it was also like a way I wanted it to drive people to my Discord server, because to vote for the finalists, you had to go to the Discord center. I think I created 10. There was 10 finalist nominees. You could vote. The Google form was on Discord. You could go to Discord, vote for your finalist, and then I put the finalist ones up on Twitter. So yeah, we got some quite a few new people in Discord, which is awesome. And yeah, if you're interested in joining the Switch IndieFix Discord, then go to switchindiefix.com/Discord. So yeah, so it was really cool. I even made some like award medallions. Went on to Canva, which is like a free Photoshop piece of software online. Created all my own awards, which was really cool. I handed them out. Like I helped some people, put them up somewhere. It would be pretty nice on their websites or whatever. But yeah, it was really fun for me. It was like a really good learning experience. Definitely going to do it next year. Yeah, next year I might even like get some awards made, like maybe some stickers, and yeah, and then actually send like physical versions out to people, which would be cool. So yeah, again, thanks everyone that got involved, had some fun, and voted. So yeah, guys, that was the end of the news segment. There is only 3 items this week. So yeah, let me know what you think of those news stories. Have you played Monster Boy? Are you going to play Stardew Valley multiplayer? And yeah, did you vote on the Switch IndieFix Game of the Year award? If so, did your game win? Or do you think there was any games we missed on there? Just let me know on Twitter or join the Discord. So yeah, section number 2 of the podcast this week is going to be about our about what indie games are on sale in the Nintendo eShop, and I think about my own personal game of the year. So let's start with the indie games that are on sale. If you haven't already seen it, I made a few like lists or a few bundles on switchindiefix.com. The article is called 10 Great Indie Games Cheaper Than Super Smash Bros. Yes, I know it's very clickbaity, and it's working because I'm getting like a lot of traffic through it. But I thought it was like a fun idea because obviously this time of year there are big sales on. After Christmas, everyone has gift card vouchers, or at least has money to spend on video games. So I was trying to cater to that market of, okay, maybe new Switch players are like Googling what are the best games on Switch to buy, or what are the cheapest games on Switch to buy. Try to tag it well, and yeah, like I said, it's working. So the 10 indie games I chose for that are less than Smash. I mean 10 together, not like 10 individual ones. Obviously, most indie games are cheaper than Smash. So it's like 10 altogether. The total price comes to $59.86. So yeah, it is all in American, in US dollars. And yeah, so that's the first one. So the first game I put up was Action Verge. It's on sale now. It's you can save 50% on it. And on the American eShop, it's on sale for $9.99. The second one was Broken Age by who's Broken Age's developer? Or I know it's Tim Schafer, but I always forget what his company's called. But anyway, Tim Schafer, the guy who was from LucasArts and made all those like classic in LucasArts like point and click adventure games. Like what was it? Oh, is it the Adventures of Monkey Island or something? And the one with the the Tentacle, Day of the Tentacle, and some other ones. And yeah, he basically also made Broken Age, which is kind of like a throwback to those old action game, point and click adventure games. So Broken Age is 70% off, and you can get it for $4.49, which is really, really cheap. The next one is one that I actually just bought. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen it's Crossing Souls. It's 50% off at $7.49. It's trying to be like, it's published by Devolver Digital. It's trying to be a kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like it's all animated in that old-fashioned style. It has all like these really cool looking cutscenes. It's very colourful. And then the majority of the game, I think, is like kind of like Earthbound. I think it has a very quirky story, and you play as like this group of kids that are trying to solve a mystery or something. Like, I haven't played it yet, but this is what I remember reading when it first came out. And then and there's like a lot of like 80s Easter eggs in the game. So you play like I think your house is like from the cul-de-sac in E.T. or something, and there's all like these really like cool like 80s touches in there. So yeah, that was one that I've been waiting to buy for a while and thought I'd get it on sale. Next one up is Aqua Kitty DX, which is 50% off for $4.49. It's like a 2D shooter / shmup. I reviewed it, so if you want to read the review, just Google Switch Indie Fix Aqua Kitty DX review. Next up is Old Man's Journey, which is minus 33% off at $6.69. Old Man's Journey is like a puzzle game where you have to get like basically from on the screen, your old man is standing on the left and you have to get him to the right side of the screen. And to do that, you basically have to maneuver the geography up or down and connect it to create a path for him to get across. Really beautiful game. It's like narrative driven, even though there's no I don't think there's text in the game. It's all just visually taught to you. A really beautiful art style, and it's made here in Vienna, so that's nice. Next is Subsurface Circular, which is a Mike Biffle game. It's 20% off at $4.79. A game I actually also reviewed. You basically play as like it's set in like a futuristic city where robots kind of have taken over a lot of the manual labor jobs from humans, and the robots ride to work every day on this underground system called the Subsurface Circular. And within the robot community, there's been a lot of people going missing, or robots going missing, and you play as an inspector or a detective that is riding the Subsurface Circular and trying to find out where these robots have gone. So it's all text based. It's like almost like one of those choose your own story kind of things, where you basically are reading through the text, asking questions, and you're looking for keywords. And then when you find these keywords, you use them like a key to unlock new branches of conversations with other people. So it was a really cool game. A lot of reading. If you're not into reading, then you're not going to like the game. But it was really cool, and it's quite short as well. So if you want something short to play on your Switch this Christmas, then I highly recommend it. Next up is Volga the Viking. Is minus 50% off at $6.49. Volga the Viking is published by Nicholas. That's pretty much all I know about it, to be honest. Let's move on. Next up is West of Loathing at 30% off at $7.70. If you like RPGs or like even like JRPGs, but you like it without all the kind of grind and nonsense in it, then you should play the West of Loathing. It's kind of like baby's first RPG, but the mechanics it lacks, it like makes up for in like it having like a funny start, like been really, really funny and really random. But yeah, if you're an RPG fan, you definitely should check out West of Loathing. I also reviewed it, so if you want to check out the review, just Google Switch Indie Fix West of Loathing review. Next up is Jack and Jill DX, which is 25% off at $3.74. And it's basically a 2D platformer / endless runner, where you play as like a little blob called Jack, who is trying to get to Jill, or you can play as Jill and you're trying to get to Jack. Really, really fun game. Again, I reviewed it. It's really cheap, but if you like platformers, it's really cool. And the last one is called Lick Spear. It's the Double Spear edition. It's minus 60% off at $3.99, and you are basically in League Speed. You basically play as like a I don't know if it's Zeus, but you play as like a god who has a lightning spear, or a light spear, I guess is the translation, and your spear has an arc when you throw it, and all these enemies run at you, and you have to basically aim your spear in different angles to hit the enemies as they run at you. And each level obviously gets harder and harder. It's kind of like almost like a horde mode. And yeah, you have to kill all the enemies before they reach you and kill you. So yeah, so that was the 10 games for less than Smash that I put together. 10 good indie games, 10 great indie games, I should say. And again, the total comes to $56.86. So if you do have some money to spend, that's like an option you could buy if you aren't a fighting fan, or you aren't really into Smash. Then yeah, lots of indie games there. The next bundle I put together was a strategy bundle, which is basically Banner Saga 1, which is minus 60% off at $10 or $9.99. Banner Saga 2 is minus 40% off at $14.99, which I actually just bought Banner Saga 2. I bought it on the European eshop. I think it was €11 on there. And the final one is Banner Saga 3 at 20% off at $19.99. And that wasn't really the final one. I was lying. And the final one is Tiny Metal, which is like it's kind of like Advance Wars. If you know what Advance Wars is, it's kind of like that. It's currently minus 50% off at $12.49, and that total comes to $57.46. Yeah, the strategy bundle, and what you could also buy as well if you wanted to is Into the Breach is on sale for 30% off. I also bought that yesterday, so I bought Crossing Souls, Into the Breach, and Banner Saga 2. Those were the 3 games I've picked up in the sale so far. I'm kind of on the edge. My brother's got me a $25 or €25 eShop card, so I'm like, should I use it and put it towards Smash, or should I just spend it on more indie games? We'll see. Yeah, so yeah, you could also get Into the Breach, but the total for the 4 games that I listed is $57.46. The next bundle is a platformer bundle. I'm just going to drink again. And the first game I put on is Battle Chef Brigade Deluxe at minus 40% at $11.99. Then Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is 20% off and is $19.99. And yeah, if you like old school platformers like Mario and Mega Man, and you haven't already got it, you should get Shovel Knight for $20. Like, there's so much content in there that honestly, it could be the only indie game you need for the next couple of months, because there is just so much to play in it. It's a really awesome game. Next up is Slime San, which is minus 40% off at $7.19. Slime San again is a, I think it's like a 2D pixel perfect platformer, kind of like, what's it called, Super Meat Boy. And I think that's kind of like a good investment, because I know the developer just released like a platform or a level builder on Steam, which I assume is coming to the Switch. So it could be one of those games where if you love these kind of platform games, these very hard, precise platform games, it could offer you tons and tons or hours and hours of content, because you have so much community-made content coming soon, which is pretty awesome. Next up is Yoku's Island Express, which is half price, so 50% off at $9.99. I'm actually playing this game now. I bought it a few months ago in a I guess it was a summer sale, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a really cool game. You basically play as like a dung beetle that is rolling around a ball, and the gameplay is kind of like platforming, but it's also mixed in with like pinball mechanics. So to get your guy across the map, there's like pinball bumpers all over, and you basically are playing pinball, getting him across the map, collecting items, and like doing side quests and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really, really cool game. And the final one, which is I know one of Age of Boredom's, he did a let's play of it, is Bomb Chicken. So that's 30% off and at $10.49. So for those 5 games, that came to a total of $59.65. Next is the RPG bundle. So the first one I listed was Moonlighter, which is 20% off. Is $19.99. A game I need to go back to and beat because I was really enjoying it. But then I think Pokemon came out then, and Monster Boy, and I've been playing them since. West of Loathing again is 30% off with $7.70. Yonder the Cloudcatcher Chronicles is 20% off at $23.99. And you can also get Cat Quest, which I reviewed. Is like a cat RPG, a really, really good one, to be fair, which is 55% off at $5.84. And that total comes to $57.52. And then after that, I kind of just listed best indies under $5 and cheapest chips games, which I'm not sure if they're good, which are like less than $2. Most of them are less than $1. So let's go through the best under $5 first. So I listed Bridge, which is minus 77% off at $2.29. Broken Age, which I already said is 50% off. Frost, which is kind of like a strategy card game, which looks really interesting. Really, it has a really nice art style. Is minus 70% off at $3.89. I might pick that up. I put in Grim Fandango, which I need to delete because that's not an indie game. It was actually published by LucasArts, which obviously isn't indie. Inksplosion is 40% off at $2.99. Jack and Jill DX is 25% off at $3.74. Letter Quest Remastered, which is like a dungeon crawler where you have to use words to beat puzzles and get and beat enemies, which is kind of fun. It's like a mix of dungeon crawler and Scrabble. 75% off at $2.99. Lichspiel Double Edition is 60% off at $3.99. One More Dungeon is 40% off at $4.79. And again, Subsurface Circular is 20% off at $4.79. And then the final ones, cheapest chips games. The Adventures of Eleanor Temple is 60% off at $1.99. Astro Base Party is 90% off at 49 cents. Bouncy Bob is 99% off, and it costs literally 1 cent. Bull Boy is 8% off, and that's $1.79. Earthworms is 88% off at 99 cents. Frederick 2, The Evil Strikes Back is 90% off at 49 cents. Millie is 90% off at 49 cents. No Thing is 90% off at 19 cents. Pirates All Aboard is 90% off at 59 cents. Quebec is 90% off at 49 cents. And Robonauts is 90% off at 86 cents. So, from those last two lists, if you've been saving up some of your gold coins from your purchases on the eShop, then you might be able to get something there for free. The last ones I put in just because, I don't know, if a game is like, if you have $25 and a game costs you, I don't know, $24.49, and it's like, okay, well, I need to spend 50 cents on something, then you can get a game for that price. So yeah, I hope that helps some of you guys out on what you're going to be buying with your gift cards this year or your Christmas money. Like I said, I picked up, what did I pick up? Banner Saga 2, Crossing Souls, which I'm really looking forward to playing, and Into the Breach, which I'm also looking forward to playing. So yeah, I have a lot of things to play this Christmas. And how long are we running at? Okay, we're at half an hour. Good. So the last thing I want to talk about is my favourite indie games of 2018. So let me just be clear, this isn't the best indie games of 2018, and it isn't necessarily indie games that were released in 2018. It is games that I've played in 2018 and which I enjoyed the most. And yeah, looking back through what I've been playing, I realised that for next year I really want to do more reviews. Like I feel like when I first started off the website, I was doing one every week, because I basically had a backlog of games that I'd already played before I started the website, so I could review them pretty easily. And then it kind of got down to over the summer I took like a break, because I was just too busy to do anything really and play games, and then since then starting the podcast and doing other things with the site is kind of like put me back behind on reviewing. So next year I definitely want to get more reviews out. But let's start with the list. So number 10 is the Adventure Pals. So if you're a fan of Adventure Time and you love the Adventure Pals, the cute/quirky art style first drew me in with its bright colours and cartoony characters. The game itself is a fun 2D platformer where you play as Winston, a young boy trying to save his father who's been turned into a hot dog. If you like platformers and a little bit of silliness, then Adventure Pals might be for you. So yeah, it's a really cute platformer. You play, like I said, as Winston, and you have like a giraffe in your backpack, and the giraffe is used as like a multi-tool as a grappling hook and a helicopter. Yeah, it's really colourful. It's really fun to play. There's like a really nice overworld with lots of different themes for different sections. The platforming was like okay, like it's not a very hard game, so it's very accessible to everyone. And yeah, it's just fun. Like it's just something a bit different. Like I always think now that platformers they always try to be as hard as possible, which sometimes I like, but sometimes I really just want to sit down to something, have it look nice, have it feel nice, and just play through it to the end and be like, oh, that was a great game. It wasn't too challenging. Like, yeah, sure, I probably died a few times, but it wasn't too difficult. So number 9 is Floor Kids. So Floor Kids is a rhythm game with a twist, and it's by far one of the most unique games on the Nintendo Switch. If you imagine it, it's basically a rhythm game, button bashing, mixed with Tony Hawk like combo building. So yeah, it's basically a flawed breakdancing game where you have I think like 8 characters, and each character has like its own unique dance style, but the button combos are always the same, and it's like basically trying to get a high score by fluidly moving between dance moves, and it's also a rhythm game. You have to time it to the rhythm of whatever song's playing. The songs are produced by Kid Koala, so if you're a Kid Koala fan, then I highly suggest Floor Kids to you. And the animation is all hand-drawn by John Animations. It looks amazing. And fun fact, Floor Kids was the game... I remember Googling like review of Floor Kids or something, and Age of Boredom's review came up, and I watched it and liked it, subscribed to him, maybe left him a comment, and since then our relationship has gone on from there. So yeah, fun fact for Floor Kids, a really cool game, and if you want something a bit different on the Switch, then I highly suggest it. Number 8 is Minute. So after picking up a strange sword, your life gets cut down to just 1 minute. Within that minute, you have to solve puzzles and return the sword to the evil corporation that created it. However, if you can't do it within a minute, you die and restart your life again. So yeah, Minute is basically the original Legend of Zelda, kind of 2D top-down exploration adventure game. And yeah, so you have a minute. You basically, within that first minute, when you first start off, you get to like a certain point, you die, and then you restart it where you started the game. But within that first minute, you might have unlocked like a door, so you kind of, or you might have spoken to someone. So in your next life, you're like, okay, I don't need to waste seconds unlocking that door anymore, or speaking to that person, I can go and do something else. And it slowly, within the 1 minute, you slowly expand the map by unlocking new areas, creating shortcuts, getting items that help you move around the map. And yeah, as the world expands, you might then unlock a new checkpoint. So then when you die, you don't restart in your house, you restart in like a hotel or something. And yeah, the game kind of grows from there. And yeah, it's really cool that you can, I think, technically beat the game in a minute. But yeah, I think I think overall you need like about 180 lives. So it takes like 3 hours to beat. Really cool art style as well. Like it's black and white art style, very simple, but I really like it. So number 7 is SteamWorld Dig 2. So it's the first game I ever gave a 10 to on Switch Indie Fix, and SteamWorld Dig 2, in my opinion, is still one of the best Metroidvanias the Switch has to offer. You play as Daisy, a concerned robot looking for her friend Rusty. However, with large earthquakes creating obstacles for her, Daisy must enter small puzzle-focused dungeons to gain resources to build upgrades to overcome them. Another great game. I think it's $20 when it's not on sale, and it seems to be on sale quite often. So yeah, if you're looking for a good Metroidvania, that also has like some Zelda Breath of the Wild themes to it, like these dungeons, they feel like they're shrines from Breath of the Wild, where you go in, it's like very perfectly designed to have like a theme around a certain puzzle. Yeah, so it's definitely worth it. And like I said, I give it a 10 out of 10. Like I loved it that much, and it also looks amazing on the Switch's screen. Number 6 is one that we mentioned a few times in the sales, is West of Loving. So West of Loving is an RPG with all the boring and annoying parts taken out of it. There's no grinding, not that much leveling, but a lot of humor. It's set in a parody of the American Wild West, where West of Loving takes you on an outrageous journey where you fight demons, put your hands in a lot of splatoons, and make your fortune. Yeah, like I said before, if you're an RPG fan, then you definitely have to check out West of Loving. Then number 5 is Old Man's Journey, which we already spoke about. So after receiving a mysterious letter, an old man sets out on a journey. You, the player, have no idea where he's going or why, but you sense an urgency in the old man's face and stance. To get him to his destination, you have to manipulate the geography of the world, lowering and raising the beautifully painted hills to get the old man from one side of the screen to the next. I think the Switch lacks like these narrative-driven games, especially indie games. Like, actually, you just got Firewatch, so Firewatch is kind of along the same vein. But yeah, if you like narrative-driven games with also like a puzzle aspect and like utterly gorgeous art, then yeah, definitely check out Old Man's Journey. Next up is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which we spoke about. So though I've only recently started playing the game, I had to put Monster Boy on this list. You can tell that the game was a passion project. You can tell the game was a passion project for the game's developers and publishers. There's so much incredible detail into it. What I mean by that is some of the like animation. They just have like like the waiting animation. They just have such like cool little like Easter eggs that when you see them, you kind of can't believe that like they would take the time to put that into the game. But there is really like so much detail in there. So yeah, if you like games like Shantae Half Genie Hero, then I highly recommend Monster Boy. I think it takes the Wonder Boy and Shantae mechanics and perfects them, whilst also looking stunning. Number 3 is a game that I just reviewed, and I think it says a lot that it got to number 3 on my list, and I only just played it, but that's Donut County. So if you want an extremely fun game to play whilst you chill out on the sofa, then I highly recommend Donut County. The game is a physics-based adventure game along the vein of Katamari Damacy. You play as a cheeky raccoon called BK who is using a hole to ruin the town of Donut County. Your hole starts off small, but the more items you collect, the bigger it gets. Eventually, you go from collecting bricks and coffee cups to swallowing the whole city. Donut County is a really fun game. It was a mobile game originally and on Steam, and they just brought it to the Switch. Really funny, really great writing. The game mechanics themselves are pretty... You would describe them as repetitive. It's like every level is pretty much the same, but it's like not a game that... I don't know. It's not a game where... I don't think you're trying to get that much satisfaction out of the gameplay. It's more about the story and about the characters and the quirky world. And like the gameplay, I think is very satisfying when you start off with a small hole, and then you have like a huge one, and you're just totally like hoovering up whole cities. Like it's really cool. Like I said, it's very comparable to Katamari Damacy, where you start rolling a ball and you start off on basically on a table, and then your ball gets larger and larger, and by the time you've beat the game, you are like rolling up huge cities. Like I think that kind of gameplay is really fun. Number 2 is Warframe. So it's the actual only multiplayer game I think I put on the list. Yep. Like solely multiplayer, like online multiplayer. So if you're on a Switch and you haven't downloaded Warframe, the game is completely free to play and offers so much quality content without trying to nickel and dime you with microtransactions. I was basically reading it and I was like, that sentence the first sentence didn't make sense, but it says if you on a Switch, you have to download, not you have, and you haven't. Yeah, so I misread that. The gunplay and movement are phenomenal, making you feel like a space ninja. Furthermore, it's arguably the best looking game on the Switch and is a triumph for Panic Button, the company that ported the game to the Switch. So yeah, Warframe, Age of Adam and I have played tons of it. He's played tons more than me, which is unbelievable. I think I'm like 35 hours in, and last time we played he was over 60. So he's put a lot more time into it than me. But it's a really great game. It is kind of like overwhelming at the start and quite difficult to get into, but I am in the middle of writing a beginner's guide for Warframe. So if you have if you've got an interest in Warframe, then yeah, maybe download it. in the next couple of days or maybe the next week, I'll hopefully finish my guide. So check out my guide or join us the Switch Indie Fix Discord server. And me and Age of Bottom, we play it regularly. And if you have any questions, just jump on there and ask us. And it's a really great game. It's free, so even if you download it and play it for an hour and don't like it, then it hasn't cost you anything. And like I said, it's not like, even though it's a free-to-play game, it's not like a mobile game where it's making you play for an hour. Then like, okay, now you've played for an hour. Here's a pop-up of like a video that you need to watch, or here's like a pop-up of like, oh, buy this item. It's really like how a free-to-play game like microtransaction model should be, where it offers it has like an online marketplace where you can spend real money, but it doesn't really push you there at all. It just lets you play the game, and it's like, okay, if you're enjoying the game and you want to give something back to the developers, then here's an option to do that. If you're playing the game and you just want to play it for free, then you can do that too. And maybe you tell your friends like, oh yeah, this is a great game, you should come play it. And then maybe they come in and spend a bit of money. So like, it's a really, how they do it is really cool. And my favorite game of 2018 is Hyper Light Drifter Special Editions, the number one Hyper Light Drifter. Honestly, nothing I've played this year comes close to toppling Hyper Light Drifter for me. When I first started the game, I really didn't like it. However, after learning the game, how the game wants you to play, I fell in love with it. The art, the story, the combat, all mixed together to make an amazing game. So Hyper Light Drifter, again, it's kind of like it's like an old school Zelda game, like A Link to the Past, kind of mixed in with like Dark Souls, like the difficulty of Dark Souls. So it has a very hard, but not that complex combat system. And it's like when you first start, it's very kind of jarring, the difficulty. But once you learn how to play and you learn how to dash between enemies and stuff like that, the combat gets really rewarding. There's also like really cool puzzles that you have to unlock and like dungeons that you go into, and the story, kind of like Old Man's Journey, it's delivered to you visually, and it's very open to interpretation. So you can kind of, I might play through the game and think this is what the story is about, whereas the next person might play through the game and think something totally different. It's a really great game, really like artsy. So if you like these kind of like contemporary art where there is a story but there isn't really a story, or you don't really know what the story is, then I highly suggest Hyper Light Drifter. It's a fantastic game, and it's like an evergreen game. I think whenever you play it, you're gonna love it, but that also means that it never goes on sale. So I think it's $20 to buy, or €20, so relatively expensive for what is an old game, but I definitely think it is great. So guys, so that was my 10 favourite games of 2018. Let me know either on Twitter at SwitchIndieFix or over on Discord what your favourite games you've been playing this year are. They don't necessarily have to be indie. That was my indie list, which I've mostly only played indies this year. The only exception being I played some God of War on PS4, and I played some Pokemon Let's Go. And so that was my list. And guys, I think that's going to be the end of this week's podcast, or this year for podcasting. Like I said, I want to thank everyone that has downloaded or listened to or shared the podcast, or any of my reviews on the website, or anything I post on the website. If you like the podcast, please remember to review it on Apple, or if you're whatever podcast service you're using, if it has a review scheme, please review it, because the more reviews it gets, the more it gets like suggested to new listeners. So it's really important that you review it. We're getting like quite good numbers right now. I want to try and get it out to as many people as possible. For the next year's podcast, we need your questions. So if you have any questions, indie game related or Nintendo related, go to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. It'll take you to a Google form and you can ask your question there, and hopefully I'll read it out on next week's show. And like I said, yeah, if you want to talk more about indie games or Nintendo things in general, go to switchindiefix.com/Discord, and there you'll find some awesome people to come talk to. So yeah, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you all have a great New Year. Thank you for listening, and you'll hear from me again in the New Year. Bye.